All right, guys, we are on Proposition 32. Raises minimum wage. Initiative statute. Put on the ballot by petition signatures. Summary: raises minimum wage as follows. For employers with 26 or more employees, to $17 immediately, 18 on January 1st, 2025. For employers with 25 or fewer employees, to 17 on January 1st, 2025, $18 on January 1st, 2026. Fiscal impact: state and local government costs could increase or decrease by up to hundreds of millions of dollars annually. State and local revenues likely would decrease by no more than a few $100 million annually. Supporters: none submitted. Opponents: California Chamber of Commerce, California Restaurant Association, and California Grocers Association. So a yes vote on this measure means the state minimum wage would be 18 per hour in 2026. After that, it would go up each year based on how fast prices are going up. A no vote on this measure means the state minimum wage likely would be about 17 per hour in 2026. After that, it would go up each year based on how fast prices are going up. It's really economical. I could find a way to get my thoughts together and explain it. The arguments, the pros about yes on this Prop 32. Yes on Prop 32 raises the minimum wage to 18, so more service, essential, and other workers and single moms can afford the state's cost of living. Corporate profit margins increased 100% since 2000 because corporations spiked the prices of goods. Yes on Prop 32, so workers can afford life's basic needs. The con: Prop 32 was written by one multi-millionaire alone, and he wrote a horribly flawed measure. Prop 32 increases the cost of living, eliminates jobs, makes our state and local government's budget deficits worse, and makes California's complex minimum wage laws even harder for businesses and workers to understand. So let me read this up again. So for employers with 26 or more employees, 17 immediately, 18 on the January 1st of 2025. For employers with fewer, January 1st, 2025, $17, but then 2026, 18. So right now the minimum wage is 17, but by next, not 2025, but by 2026, this will go up to 18. But the con: Prop 32 was written by one multi-millionaire alone, and he wrote a horribly flawed measure. It increases the cost of living, eliminates jobs, makes our state and local government budget deficits worse, makes California's complex minimum wage laws even harder for businesses. So, okay, what was I looking at? 26 or more, 25 or less. It's going to hurt small businesses, especially anybody trying to start any sort of small business, and paying taxes too. Not doing it properly by the book. It's already expensive to do it with all these regulations, all these permits. It's for people to have free enterprise. It's not free enterprise. It's not real freedom. It's not freedom to do things. It's so let's say a small business, man. You make the price, the minimum wage higher to pay, right? That means they're gonna hire less people, or the prices have to go up. But where's demand? Where's the demand shock? Where's the demand pool inflation? Where's the? It's gonna hurt small businesses entirely. We've seen it already. Gavin Newsom did. So, what's the argument here? Let's do the analysis. The fiscal effects: higher wages. Workers would have made less than 8 per hour instead of make 18 or more hour. High minimum wages often push wages for other workers. Higher wages would increase costs for many businesses. Some businesses likely would charge customers higher prices, or pricing of likely lower the cost of higher wages likely would reduce some businesses' profits. So it's going to disincentivize people to do business, effect on jobs. State and local laws set minimum wages. Employers must pay their workers at least minimum wage. California's minimum wage currently is 16 per hour. Minimum wage laws do not apply to independent contractors and other self-employed people. Inflation adjustments under current law. Prices tend to go up over time. These rising prices are called inflation. The state adjusts its minimum wage every year based on inflation. Each adjustment matches U.S. inflation except in two cases. If inflation is negative, the adjustment is zero. Higher minimum wage would have different minimum wages for employers of different sizes. Remember, this state is a fucking socialist state. They don't care about your profit, or they don't care about what's your reason for starting a business. You want to make money off your business. I mean, yeah, you want it to be intrinsic. Well, oh, I'm doing this because this is my product. I believe in my ability. I believe in my product. I believe maybe my product is myself. Maybe, yeah, maybe I'm buying other things and have a little store and I'm selling things, right? What are the arguments and rebuttals? Okay, there's some pros and cons here. Uh, so arguments in favor of Prop 32. Every Californian who works at least a full-time 40-hour work week should be able to afford life's basic needs. I agree. However, there are about 2 million Californians who are working full-time and more but earn less than 18 per hour. Most of these Californians who earn less than 18 per hour are heads of their households. Most of these Californians who earn less than 18 per hour have kids. We can all agree that Californians who work hard, working full-time or more, should not live in poverty. That's exactly how millions of Californians are living because their wages are too low to afford how expensive life has become. In addition, when people who work hard are paid wages that aren't enough to cover life's basic needs, a bigger burden is put on taxpayers to make up the difference that some corporations aren't honoring. It is wrong for all the businesses that do right by their workers that some corporations are allowed to pay Californians such low wages that those workers are left needing taxpayers funded aid. Taxpayers should not be subsidizing some corporations that choose to pay extremely low wages and enabling them to keep the rest as excess profit for their owners. By raising minimum wage 18, Proposition 32 will bring a much needed raise to 2 million California workers and create a more prosperous system where big corporations aren't allowed to exploit smaller businesses, our communities, and our hardest working neighbors. Finally, when Californians earn a fair wage to their work, our entire economy does better. Working people are better able to afford their rent, provide 3 meals per day for their kids, and all of that spending boosts the economies of our local communities. Boosted spending creates, demand, right? Higher demand. My labor force needs to adjust for consumers' demand for more. I need workers to help me run my business. Um, it's time that we, California, if vote on Proposition 32 increases your personal costs, makes California's huge budget deficit worse, punishes small businesses, costs jobs, and it hurts the very workers it's supposed to help. Proposition 32 makes our budget deficit worse by billions each year and jeopardizes funding for public safety and education. California just experienced a 50 billion budget deficit. Many cities and counties face huge deficits as well. Independent fiscal analysis of Prop 32 in the same ballot pamphlet says a minimum wage increase will likely cost state and local governments billions of dollars each year. That means two things. You paying higher taxes to make up the difference, and cuts to important programs like K through 12 education, public safety, healthcare, and getting homeless people off the streets. Prop 32 increases prices for Californians when we can least afford it. The cost of living in California is too high. Prices are up more than 20% in the last 3 years for food, gas, utilities, healthcare, and clothing. Prop 32 makes it even worse as it will increase costs on family-owned businesses who can least afford it and force small employers to increase prices for consumers to absorb the higher minimum wage. Looking at New California's fast food minimum wage law, fast food prices in California have gone up 7% in 6 months, the fastest in the nation. Some well-known value meals now cost 40% more in California than the rest of the country. Prop 32 brings these record-setting price increases to small restaurants, grocery stores, convenience stores, and small retail shops, farmers, and more. So we're going to see the same sticker shock everywhere. Will hurt small family-owned businesses. Prop 32 imposes the same high minimum wage on small businesses as it does for large corporations. Small businesses are more vulnerable to the impact of this higher cost and could force these family-owned businesses in our neighborhoods and communities to shut down. It sounds like something that would help workers struggling to make ends meet. Who doesn't want workers to get paid more? It makes us feel good if we think we're helping our fellow Californians out. But the reality has been confirmed. Raising the minimum wage, especially when we raise it too fast, costs thousands of jobs. And when a worker loses a job or the company goes out of business, the wage is $0 per hour. And this job loss especially impacts our vulnerable populations the most, with young African American, Latino, and non-college educated workers trying to find their first jobs facing the biggest burdens. Get the facts at stopprop32.com and vote no on Prop 32. I'm not even going to read the rebuttals. Yeah, I'm going to vote no on this one. I'm going to vote no. Start a business.